For those that have been to Cambodia and Kep Beach, I'm at the crab markets at Kep Beach. Now, they call them world famous, but if you want to save the planet and you're into conservation, do not buy the crabs from the crab markets. They're all juveniles, and every year they're getting smaller and smaller, and you're just helping to deplete the crabs from the Cambodian coast. Every year they're getting smaller, and at the moment they're just little tiny juveniles, and all the breeding stock have almost gone. So if you come here and you buy crabs, you're only helping for the destruction of the crabs at the crab market. And I advise you not to buy any crabs. You can buy the prawns, the fish, the shellfish, but do not buy any crabs. For a start, there's no meat on them, and what meat is inside them is as thin as a noodle, and they're just a waste of time buying them, and you're only helping to deplete the crabs along the Cambodian coast. What you're looking at now is all reclaimed land. Up until about a year ago, it was all mangrove, where the mud crabs and the sea life would breed, and it's all been taken away. The mangroves have been destroyed, and it's going to just speed up the complete depletion of crabs along the Cambodian coast. And next will be the prawns and the shellfish. They'll also disappear. They're just actually building a new beach at Kep Beach. This is going to be Kep Beach number 2. I'll show you Kep Beach number 1 later on in this video. But that used to be all mangroves, and they've destroyed them all and building a new beach. That black water down there that's coming out, that is raw sewage. And we're at the Kep, where they sell the crabs over here. It's low tide at the moment. And all that polystyrene and plastic bags are just dumped here, and the raw sewage will end up in the ocean, in the Thailand Sea. When high tide comes, it'll just be washed out to sea. Not a very nice sight, especially when tourists come here. They sell everything here, to do with seafood and food, but really not a really hygienic place to come. You can come as a tourist, look around, but don't buy the mud crabs. If you want to help save the planet and the mud crabs along the Cambodian coast, do not buy any mud crabs. They're only juveniles, and they're getting smaller every year. This is the seafood section, where they sell the seafood along. And all these polystyrene boxes will end up in the ocean. I've been coming here for 17 years, and I've never seen it this bad before. It's getting worse every year rather than better. Now if you want to buy some prawns, they're okay. The prawns are okay to buy. and the calamari or the squid, whatever you call them back in your own country, are okay to buy. I wouldn't buy those, there's no ice in there and this flies on top. And I wouldn't buy those. You got the smaller squid or calamari, are okay. And here's another type of squid, calamari, and they're okay to buy. If you're buying calamari or squid from the markets, the pinker they are, the more pink, the more fresh they are. So the less pink, the older they are. So these would have been caught last night, nice and pink. And you want to come early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise I'll be sitting in the sun all day. So if you're coming to buy some seafood, other than crabs, calamari, squid, buy the pink ones. The pinker they are, the more fresh they are. Now here's some mud crabs here. All juvenile. Absolutely no meat on them. So don't buy any crabs. They're sold per kilogram and the meat inside is thinner than a noodle. In Australia they'd be 5, 6, 7 times bigger than this. Probably some of the smallest juvenile mud crabs I've ever seen in my life. You know, every year they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If you're from Australia, well, you'll know what I'm talking about. But these are absolutely just tiny juveniles. You know, they'd be lucky if they're 2 years old or 18 months old. And they're getting smaller. When I first came here 17 years ago, they were the size of a dinner plate. And since then they're getting smaller and smaller. So don't buy them. I advise you not to buy them. You're only helping for the complete destruction of the crabs along the Cambodian coast if you buy these. Yeah, these are blue swimmers, blue swimmer crabs, and they've also got no meat on them. And they're also juvenile crabs, blue swimmers in Australia. And they, you know, you buy a bag like that and they're weighed. And absolutely no meat on them at all. No. Just. And here's some more blue swimmers here. And the pollution is absolutely terrible here along the crab markets. Polystyrene is just thrown into the sea and it'll be washed out at high tide when it comes in. These are blue swimmers, what we call them in Australia, because they've got the blue claws. And absolutely no meat on them. And, you know, don't buy any crabs from the crab markets. They're just juveniles and you're just helping for the destruction and absolute depletion of crabs along the Cambodian coast. You're just wasting your money buying them because there's no meat on them. And if you want to try and save the planet, do not buy these crabs. Some more advice, these are rock oysters, but grown in polluted waters. And I advise you not to buy any oysters either, because they're grown in polluted waters. And the shells look really, really big, but inside, you know, they're the size of a, you know, a small coin. And they're sold by weight, so you're actually buying, you know, paying for the shell, because the actual oyster inside is the size of a, you know, 10-cent piece. This lady's removing the backbone of the calamari or squid, whatever you want to call them. She's taking it out. You know, the pollution is getting really, really bad. The plastics and polystyrene is just thrown into the ocean, and it's getting worse every year. As you can see, it's low tide, and when the tide comes in, all this will be just washed into the sea. You know, all the polystyrene containers are just thrown into the sea. Terrible. It's getting worse every year. All these are juveniles. Absolutely no meat on them whatsoever. They should be at least 5 or 6 times bigger than this. So if you're coming to the crab markets, don't buy any crabs, because it's just a waste of money, and you're just helping the depletion, the destruction of the crabs along the Cambodian coast. This is what the oysters look like, but they've actually taken a big shell and put a really large oyster in it as to display. But you open up these here and they'll be the size of a small, you know, coin that you'll get in small change. That's just like a sample. Everyone thinks all the oysters inside the shells are that size. They're not. They're only about probably 1/5 of that size in these there, and also they're grown in polluted waters. Why any tourist would ever come and buy these? Just juvenile and no meat. And I've seen lots of YouTube videos saying, oh, it was great, all the crabs there, we bought some, and they don't realise that they're only juveniles. It's like taking all the 9-month-old babies out of the population in your country, and you know what would happen? Within a generation, there'd be no one left in your country if they started taking or getting rid of everything that turned 9-month-old, as in, say, children. It's the same with the crab population. So just don't buy any crabs. The pollution is absolutely terrible here. You can see all the plastics got caught up when the high tide comes, and it'll all be. And those baskets out there are just the live mud crabs, the juveniles, in baskets to keep them alive before they're sold in those baskets. And the raw sewage just flows into this little part here from the town. So they're all sitting in, you know, polluted waters. Now these calamari, they're a good size to buy if you're into calamari or squid. They're nice and pink, probably caught last night, and they're a good size. Cut them up and make calamari rings, fry them up at home, or they'll cook them here for you. But if you're buying seafood, buy it fresh and get them to cook it for you rather than to buy the stuff that's already cooked. Because the stuff that's already cooked, you don't know how old it is. Could have been 2 or 3 days old. And your toilet and you will be your best friend for the next 3 or 4 days. That's a really, really small juvenile crab here. Really, really tiny. He'd be only probably 6 months old. And then the next, you've got a bigger one, but he would be only about 2 years old. He looks like he'd have a lot of meat on it, but you're talking about noodles, you know, thin as noodles, and still a juvenile. They should be 4 times that size. All juvenile. You're wasting your money if you buy these. Absolutely no meat on them. These are a mixture of mud crab and blue swimmers. The blue swimmers have got the purple claw, or the blue claw, and the mud crabs are just the dark colour ones, so there's a mixture of both mud crab and blue swimmers. All juveniles, only a few months old. So once again, I advise you, if you're a tourist, don't buy any crabs. That little canal there, that's a sewer outlet. So the raw sewage is flowing out of there into the sea, where those baskets have got juvenile mud crabs in them. So that's the raw sewage that flows from the markets just out into the sea. Hello? You got some prawns here for sale? Hey? Yeah, this is her dad over here. And he sells prawns. And this is his daughter here, and yeah, nice. And you got, what are these here? Prawns. Hey, good girl, thank you. I know you can't understand English, and thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you. This is Mystery Cambodia signing off from the Kep Crab markets in Cambodia. And once again, I advise any tourists coming here, you can buy the other seafood, but do not buy the crabs or the blue swimmers or the mud crabs. Don't buy any crabs. They're all juveniles and you're only helping into the destruction and the depletion of crabs along the Cambodian coast. The mangroves have been cut down and there'll be less breeding areas for the crabs to breed. So it's a good place to come and visit and buy your seafood, but do not buy any crabs, blue swimmers or the mud crabs. The other seafood is good, and take it home or they cook it here for you. So this is Mystery Cambodia, and I'll leave all my details down below in the comments down below this video. And if you want to get back to me, I'll leave a WhatsApp message if you want to send me a personal message. So this is Mystery Cambodia signing off from the Kep markets in Cambodia, and today is Tuesday the 28th of June 2022, and hope you have a good day, and please subscribe, share and like, and there'll be more videos about Kep, Kampot and Sihanoukville coming up in the next 1 week. Thank you.